In this activity, we'll be creating a program that utilizes results and the question mark operator. Once you're ready, fire up Visual Studio Code and let's get started. Once Visual Studio Code loads, navigate to our bin directory. We are on activity A18B, so double-click on A18B.rs. Once the activity file loads, review the topic and program requirements. Attempt to implement a solution on your own with the video paused. Once completed, resume the video and I will demonstrate my implementation as well as provide insights to the activity topic. All right, let's get started. We have a program here and it already has some code and we're supposed to write the body of the authorize function here as indicated in the requirements. So I'm going to copy these requirements down into the authorize function and then we're going to write the code needed to complete the function. So we go down to authorize. So we need to put our code in this function. And then once it works, we'll see here at the top, in our requirements, when we run the program, we should see OK allow, OK deny, and then error, Catherine doesn't have a key card. And we need to make sure that we're using the question mark operator within the authorize function. It is possible to do this activity without the question mark, but we want to use that just for practice. So it says the steps to authorize a user are to first connect to the database. So if we go up here to our database structure, we'll see to connect, we just need to call the connect function, and that's going to return a result, which has a database structure or a string for an error. We'll see that all these results use string for error, so we'll be working with strings as part of our error message. So step 1, connect to the database. Step 2 is to find the employee with the find employee database function. So we'll use our database.findEmployee. And we're going to use the employee name that was passed to the authorize function. Step 3 is to get the key card. So once we have the employee information, we can use the getKeyCard function to retrieve the key card. And then finally, we can check the key card's access level to see if they're allowed to access the current area. The access level is going to be present in our protected location. That's the authorization is being checked for. So we'll look at protected location first. And we'll see up here we have as an enumeration, there's all, office, and warehouse. And we can use the required access level function to determine the actual numeric value for each one of those locations. We'll see here in our requirements that high numbers can access lower level numbers, but lower level numbers cannot access higher levels. So we're just going to do a basic greater than or equal to check. So we'll get our key card, check the access level, and if it's greater than or equal to the required access level of the location, then we'll authorize them. We'll change the authorization status, and that will be allow. And if they don't have the required access level, we're going to return an OK, and we'll do authorization status, and then we'll deny access. So if we look at keycard from our getKeyCard function, the keycard structure has an access level built in. So we already know the numeric value of the keycard, and we're just comparing it to the access level required for the protected location. So now we've done all the steps. First, we've connected to the database. Then we try to find the employee. And then we try to get the key card. And we also checked the access level. Let's hop into a terminal and run this and see what we get. We can run this with cargo run --bin A18B. And so it looks like we got some errors. Let's start from the top. So we'll see here that it indicates that we have no method named findEmployee for enumeration result. So it points to the code. We're trying to call the findEmployee method, but the data is result. It's not the actual database. So we need to fix that. So if we go up here to the database.connect, this returns a result. So there's lots of ways to get the data out. If we use unwrap, that's fine. But if the database connection fails, then the program will crash. So we don't want that. It's also possible to do something like this. we can match on the database.connect. And if we get an OK, we get the database back. We can just place that into the variable. And if we get an error back, we can return the error. And that works too. But then we have to do that for find employee because that returns result, and also get key card. So then our code is going to increase by a lot. So if we try to see how much, we'll see that our code is going to look something like that. And that takes up a lot of lines and starts to become hard to read. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to the end of the database connect function and do a question mark. Now this question mark is going to turn this line into this one right here automatically for us. So that way we don't have to actually write all this manually. We can just forget all that, use the question mark, and then we'll get our database back. And if something goes wrong with the database connection, it's going to automatically return an error from the function, and then the program can continue with whatever else it was doing. So I'm going to delete this. And we know that the find employee, that also has a result. So we'll do a question mark, and we'll do a question mark. So now for steps 1, 2, and 3, each one of them can possibly fail. We handle that potential failure scenario with the question mark, and we'll get an appropriate error back at each step of the process. Once we get to this point down here, we have access to a key card, and we can just check the access level. And again, if the access is good, if it's greater than or equal to the location, then we'll return an authorization status of allow. And if their level's too low, we're going to return deny. So now that we've added question marks, we'll save it and hop back into a terminal. We'll run it again with cargo run --bin A18b. And so now we'll see that we have OK allow, OK deny, and error. Catherine doesn't have a key card. We go back to our requirements. We'll see that we should have OK allow, OK deny, and error. Catherine doesn't have a key card. So it looks like our output matches the requirements. I'm going to go down to the authorize function really quick. So as you can see, using the question mark operator is a great way to encapsulate error handling within a single character in your codebase. One quick note before finishing up. Whenever we have a result and we're using question marks, each one of these operations needs to return the same error type. So all of them return string. If we have different error types that are being returned, it's still possible to use the question mark operator, but additional functionality needs to be written in order to handle that, which we'll be covering in a future video. This concludes the activity on using the question mark operator with the result type. I'll see you in the next video.